Hello everybody. All good things come to those who wait. If you've been hanging around for a little bit waiting for this live stream to start, I do apologize. I actually in the end worked out what was wrong, and so I don't know what was wrong to start with, but now I've worked out what was wrong and I put it right. And welcome finally, because you must have been absolutely bursting at the seams waiting to make one of these cutie little needle felted teddy bears, or bears with a little heart that they can hug, in aid of the British Liver Trust, which you've so kindly supported by buying one or maybe two, maybe three, maybe four, maybe even more kits. And if you have been extremely patient and haven't looked inside the kit, goodness me, you're very good. My name is Steffi Stern. I work with the makers, and I've needle felted for nearly 20 years, so I've got to try and impart as much knowledge as I can onto you tonight. If you've never needle felted before, don't worry. We've got you sorted. This is a beginner's project, and all you need to do is just relax and enjoy, and have a nice cuppa at the ready, and just chill. The video or the tutorial will stay here on the event for a long time, and I'm also recording this, and so the British Liver Trust will be sending you a copy so that you can view it on their YouTube channel as well. So you're all covered. If you don't get it first time round, you can rewatch it a zillion times after that. Right, let's get cracking. If you've got one of these, then let's have a look inside, because I want to make sure that you've got everything that you need inside. And it's also a great opportunity to introduce you to our overhead camera, so you can actually see a different view, and that is so much better because you will be able to see exactly what I'm doing. By the way, if you haven't opened this yet, it's definitely best to peel that paper tape off and open your box up. And so let's see. Right, a little leaflet here from the British Liver Trust. If you have any ideas of fundraising, I'm sure they would be always very welcome to hear about them, because it's such a worthy charity. And I've been looking at this. There's a lot of stuff in there that I didn't even know. Not that I meant to know it, but yeah, definitely some important things in there. Of course, a massive big thank you for you ordering the craft bear kit, because obviously you care, and half of what you have spent goes straight to the Liver Trust, and that's £10, and that buys many things that can help raise awareness about liver disease and other things, and of course support research and all kinds of other things. There you have your instructions. Now the instructions, whether you've got a gold bear or a maroon colored bear, are identical. We just make sort of a little reference to one or the other type of bear. Now our instructions, they always have a tape measure on the left hand side, because we work in centimeters, and also most of our instructions have got templates, so they are usually on the back page, and we refer to those several times throughout the instructions. Here it tells you the ingredients of the kit, and then also the things that you might need extra. And on this particular project you will need a little bit of glue. Just a tiny glue bottle will do, something even that size, because you need to put a dab of glue behind the eyes so that they don't fall out. But that's all you need really, other than what's in your kit. In your kit, aha, there you go. Now you've got time to make yourself a brew, whether it's a coffee or a tea. And that's just a little thank you. Hopefully you're wearing your little ribbon with pride, especially after you've made a lovely bear. Maybe you even pin it on the bear, though I will say it doesn't exactly show that well on the maroon colored bear. And then you've got, this is the gold colored bear I've got here. You've got this lovely wool in there. That's the main color, with a contrasting color with a little bit of a dark brown black, or it's almost black anyway, which will be useful for the eyes and for the nose. Then you have got in here something that looks a bit weird. That's 2 wool mats, and these are for your needle felting project to rest on, or when you're making the smaller shapes, that they will come in really handy. However, you can take off that label. That's just to tell you that these are made from wool, no plastic involved, it's recycled wool, and they can go straight into your compost when you don't need them anymore. You have also got a little pack with glue and eyes in there, so keep them safe for now. They're notorious for rolling off the table, and then you have to look for them. So keep them safe for now. And then most importantly, you have got your felting needles. Now, we pack hundreds and hundreds of kits, and what I'm hoping that you all have is you all will have 3 felting needles, there's no doubt about it. 1 coarse needle, which might be in your case the longer one, and 2 medium needles, which are slightly shorter. Sometimes we put needles in that have got a color coding on the top of the needle. You'll see it straight away. These are completely uncolored, but if you've got colors on there, then look carefully on the packaging, because it tells you which color is the coarse and which color is the medium needle. You will also have 1 coarse and 2 medium needles. It's just that you identify them in a different way. So there's nothing different about them, just that they are slightly different to be identified. So you can see here that 1 needle is slightly longer than the other. That's my coarser needle. If they're color coded, they will be, you can identify them by color. I'm going to take all of this out. My aim tonight is that I'm going to make 2 bears whilst you're making 1. And that's good news for you, because I'm going to be needle felting obviously twice as slowly. However, I'm just giving you the heads up now. Needle felting, if you're completely new to it, you might just have to get used to it first. I have been needle felting for so long that my speed can sometimes be a little bit daunting. That's why I'm doing 2 bears, so that I can show you everything twice as often. So I've got a maroon colored bear here as well. Just gonna unpack that kit so that I've got everything ready for the second one. And remember, if at any point you feel I can't keep up, or this is going too fast, or I've missed something, I have got a very helpful friend and colleague in my ear, Alicia. She is checking the comments on the stream, and if there's anything that you need to know, anything that you want to ask, anything you want me to repeat, then she'll feed that back to me. However, if you've got a question that she can answer, she will do that in the comments as well. So I've got here now my gold colored bear ingredients, and here my maroon colored bear ingredients. And let's try and get some needle felting done. I'm going to teach you how to do it. I will treat everybody like a complete beginner. So if you are a very seasoned needle felter, then I do apologize, but you can always work ahead because we can't see you. Just do whatever you need to do. Right, going to the overhead camera again. If you've got your little felting mats, and the 2 of them, and I've taken the label off, so remember, just rip it off, then put them on top of each other, and then choose your coarse needle. So that in theory is the longer needle, or if they are color coded, it may be, I think it might be a white needle if you have color coded needles in there. And then all I want you to do is to stab into your little felting mat. You can stab from corner to corner. You can go diagonal, just give it a stab all over and sort of get that sense of the needle, that crunching feeling and sound when you stab the needle into it. What I'm doing, and I'm going to show you this now, so actually I'm going to show you that on the large screen. What I'm doing is I'm going in and out in a straight line. So notice my wrist stays stiff, because I need to make that line really straight. So in and out in a straight line. And do stab all the way through to the other side of those felting mats. Don't do it on your French polished mahogany table or whatever special furniture you have. Put a work mat or something underneath it where it doesn't matter if you have sort of a few stab marks. And keep doing that. just keep doing it. So I will just say that it is a sharp needle, so be mindful of that. All of the needles are brand new. They've never been used by anybody else, so you don't have to worry about catching anything from them. They're new. However, do not share needles either. That's the other thing we will definitely point out here. Keep them safe when you're not using them, and store them in a safe place so that the wrong hands can't get to it, or worse still, paws or whatever animal you might have in your house. So whilst you're doing this stabbing straight in and out in a straight line, I hope you're all stabbing away. Are you all stabbing away? Unless you're just watching, then you're stabbing in your imagination. Whilst I've been stabbing, what I have actually done is the two mats have been fused together, and this is exactly what the needle does. When you look at the needle close up, so let's have a close look. From the tip of the needle to the slightly fatter part, if you run your finger along it, you sort of feel that it gets slightly snagged. So it just slightly gets stuck. And that is because there are little notches in the tip of the needle. And when you stab that into the wool, it tangles up the fiber as you go in. And when you pull it out, it's smooth. So that is the felting process. That is exactly the same thing that happens to your woolly jumper when you put it in the hot wash and it comes out really solidly felted, like really matte, and it's definitely shrunk. It doesn't fit you anymore, and you it's sort of like a really stiff fabric. That's what we're doing with the fluffy wool for the bears, and you're turning it into a beautiful bear. However, you can't just chuck this in the machine and say, come on bear, come out. It doesn't work like that. You've got to do the hard work. Whilst I'm teaching you how to needle felt the bear, I will sort of mention a few things that the Liver Trust have asked me to mention, and I'm going to start, and it's 2 pages, and I can't remember it all off the top of my head, so there will be some bits that I'm reading out. And I think one of the things that we would love you to do is to share your bear on social media after you've done it, and remember you put hashtag love your liver as a hashtag, so that it goes all in the right places, and of course you can also share it here on this event, but we'd also love to see it on the makers group. We have a group that is called Everyone a Maker there, and you're very welcome to join that group and share your bear there. But more to it, tell us if you need any if you have any questions, or if you need to know anything else about needle felting. We would love to welcome you to the Needle Felting Club. I was talking about the danger of needles. I'm also telling you now about the danger of addiction. Needle felting is hugely addictive, and you might already be hooked. Who knows? If you're still stabbing away, you're definitely hooked already. And so yes, definitely an amazing craft, really easy to transport, relatively cheap, and you can just stab away for a little bit, and it's very, very therapeutic and soothing. And so far the British Liver Trust has actually raised £1,700, or you have raised that for the British Liver Trust. And what would be really amazing is if you could make it to 2,000. And the way to do that is buy more bear kits, because Valentine's Day is coming up. It's a perfect little gift. Wouldn't that be so cute to make a little bear with a heart and give it to a loved one? So definitely, maybe you need to do the other color that you haven't done yet. Right, so let's get started with the bear, or the bears in my case. Bear for you, bears for me. And I'm going to start with the golden bear. Now the instructions, I'm going to follow the instructions to the T. I'm a bit naughty at times that I cut my own instructions, cut the corners of my own instructions. But basically you split the main colored wool into 3 equal portions. Now when we say 3 equal portions, we do not mean that you literally count every single fiber and you make sure that you've got the same amount on every little pile of wool that you make. It's a rough estimate, okay? So it's honestly, I promise you, it will not make a huge difference if you've got a few grams here or there. Just a rough split. What might happen is, if you look at the little bears that I've made here, is that if you split it in a slightly different way, one might have a bigger head than than you would want, or that you anticipated, or maybe you love a bigger head. In any case, it really isn't a disaster if you split the wool slightly in unequal quantities, but roughly into 3 portions. Now you're going to put 2 portions to one side, and you're going to take one of the portions that you've split up. Now, if you've got bits like I just have here, one bit has just fallen off, then what you need to do is find the largest consistent part that doesn't come apart and make that into a sheet like that, and then lay the smaller parts on top of it. Now we're going to roll this up in a minute to make an oval shape, which will become the bear body. And so all I'm going to do is now I'm going to roll it from one end. Can you see how I'm starting at one end and I'm going to go to the other end? I'm going to show you now what not to do, okay? Do not do that you crunch it all up and you try to make it all somehow fit together. That's not what we want. We want to start from one end, roll it up, tuck the sides in if necessary to keep it nice and neat. And then when you get to the other side of your sheet, even tease those fibers out as if you're sort of like can't ever get to the end because you're teasing the fibers out more and more. When you get to the very end and you can't tease these fibers out anymore, then fold them over the whole shape. Take your coarse felting needle, rest your shape on top of your felting mat. These wispy fibers are still here. I'm already holding them down with my fingers, and then you just give them a couple of stabs, and that is all there is to do to get them secure. So now that you've felted them into the shape and the shape is closed up. It's not looking pretty, but it's definitely not popping open anymore. And I'm going to show you all of this again with the other colored bear. Right, split this into 3 roughly equal parts. The wool actually separates much easier if you let the fibers slither away rather than if you tear really hard on it. That'll do. 3 equal parts. There we go. And then as before, if you've got sort of wispy bits, then sometimes it's worth just pulling it apart and making sure you've got a nice compact sheet here. Roll it up from one end and to the other end, tease the fibers out so they're as far away as possible from your rolled shape. And then when you get to the far end and you can't tease it out anymore without tearing them off, then just fold them over your shape, rest your shape on your felting mat, stab these wispy ends in with your coarse felting needle to secure. And now you have made another, well, I have made 2, you maybe just have made 1. Now, one is already a little bit bigger than the other, but it's only marginally, so it doesn't really matter. So please don't worry if you've got a slightly larger or smaller body there. What we can do, however, is we can manipulate the size quite a lot with a felting needle if it's on the large side, because the more you stab it, the more it will shrink, and the firmer it will become. That is the principle of this felting needle when you stab the needle into the wool. So all you need to do now is you're going to stab the needle a little bit all over to neaten your shape up. So if you've got some bits sticking out like I've got here, then you're just going to stab them in with your felting needle. It's worth trying the other needles just for fun. Just have a go with the other needles. What you need to achieve is that you can sort of feel the needle working really hard, and the medium needle here isn't doing very much for me right now. Whereas the coarse needle, it's definitely shrinking the wool down. But sometimes if somebody rolls the shape up really tight, it might be better to work with a medium needle. The tighter the shape is, then the more likely you are to go down to the medium felting needle. So give your little shape a flat bottom. So that will be the bum area. So where I'm putting my little finger now, just give it stab straight into it, because that's what your little bear will be sitting on. And again, that's another way of shortening your shape if you want to make him a little bit shorter. But who doesn't love a tubby little bear? I certainly do. So they do need to have a little bit of plumpness to them. So I've made this quite flat now. Can you see? And if the test is, if I sit it down, it's not falling over. So that's good. Right, let's do the same on my little golden bear. You have to pick a side. I'm going to go with a slightly broader side here and felt that down as well now. If you're doing both bears, you might find that the wool feels slightly different, and that is mainly because the red wool or the maroon colored wool is a New Zealand merino, from a New Zealand merino sheep, and this one here is from a mountain sheep, so the mountain sheep wool is slightly coarser. You might even have a different colored beige wool because we have been sort of like had to vary it. There's only so much wool a sheep can produce. Here we go. So that one sits quite nicely as well. So now I've made the body shape. They're both tiny bit different, but that's okay. It's absolutely fine. So we're not making carbon copies because none of you are carbon copies of each other. So why would you make a carbon copy? Right, for the head, take another 1/3 portion that you split before. And then from this, take off about 1/4. So 1/4 means that you could split it in 4 parts, but you can just do it sort of by eye. That's about 1/4 if I, fit that 4 times in there. So you take off, then from this, take off about 1/4, which is a good pinch basically. Put the pinch to one side, so the smaller quantity you've just pulled off that 1/4, and then you continue with the larger part. And the larger part, you're going to do exactly what you did with this one here. You're going to roll the wool in from one end to the other. Again, if you've got wisps and several parts of the wool, lay them on top of each other so that you have the larger part underneath. And this time you're trying to roll this up into a ball shape. It's actually quite hard to do that with because I can guarantee you it won't be a ball shape. It will be slightly oval, but that's fine. So just roll the shape all the way to the other end. So you get to these wispy parts here. And then you're going to stab into the wispy ends again, exactly how you did for the body shape. Just so that you secure it. And then you're going to shape your second shape, which will be become the head, to make it slightly round. So when you have an oval shape and you want to make it rounder, then you have to stab into the shorter sides to squish them down. And I'm going to show you now that there is a template on the last page, as I mentioned at the very beginning. And let's just see how we're doing with the templates. So this is my body for the maroon bear. It's a little bit on the large side, but that's fine. Oh, this is pretty much perfect, according to this anyway. Now this is the head. It's definitely big right now, but I can felt this down a little bit more. So if you wanted to work more on making it fit into this particular template, then of course you can do that. You can shrink the shape down by felting into the short side again, because that will push the whole shape together. So where I push my fingers now is where you stab the needle, because that's how, in that direction where you stab your needle is where the reduction takes place. So I'm going back to the golden head now and just reduce the size a little bit, stabbing into the shape. This is the bit that becomes really, really addictive. I promise you now. If you are a complete perfectionist, you will probably not like doing this in a short time, because you can see the potential for completely perfecting this, because wherever you stop, you can tell that it's getting a little bit tighter, and then you think, oh, I want it to be a little bit tighter yet again. Oh, there's still air in there, and you might end up with a rock solid felted shape, which is absolutely fine. If you are an impatient crafter like I am, you might find it also quite satisfying, because you can see that you get somewhere really fast, and it doesn't actually need to be really firm. As long as it holds together, that's good enough. If you are a perfectionist crafter, then I would suggest that you just follow this tutorial tonight, do your best, and then you can spend the next 5 years to make your project the perfect project. We might, however, send somebody to your house and tell you to stop stabbing, because needle felting has that habit that it's hard to know when to stop. Right, so I've felted this head down a little bit more now. It fits better onto the template, so I'm quite happy with that. And then just to show you how the red head is done, I'm going to take my 1/3 portion, take a pinch off, which is about one quarter, put that to one side, use the larger quantity, roll it into a ball shape as best as I can, and then felt it down. And I've got to sneeze. Excuse me. Oh dear. It's all that fluff it gets up your nose. I do apologize. Oh, I thought I might stop. Sometimes when you say I've got to sneeze, then you don't have to sneeze, but no, not this time. Right. Let's get this felted down. Here we go. I don't know, are you sitting together with lots of friends and felting away? Maybe you have a crafternoon planned and you're just poking your head into the live stream and then getting together with friends and family to make your bears. I should also just say that I'm extending a massive big thank you to Natasha. She's the one who put the makers in touch with the British Liver Trust. Natasha is a needle felter, but she's also somebody who has received a liver transplant. So I think she probably feels very grateful to both of us. Obviously, needle felting is a great thing, but can't be compared with a new liver. But I think it's probably kept her very busy during times when she had to shield and kept her sanity intact. So that's a good thing too. Right. We do lots of live streams on our Makers YouTube channel. So if you are around midweek on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock and you want to see what else you can get up to in terms of needle felting, then tune in. And we also repeat this on our Facebook page, The Makers with 2 S's, every Thursday at 7 o'clock. However, not tonight because I'm here tonight. Right, let's have a look how this looks in real life. I was saying to my colleague earlier, I'm wearing the wrong top. Actually, I'm wearing a Liver Trust top. But this is the little shape I've made for the red bear. And this is the little shape I've made for the golden bear. So hopefully yours will look similar. Not very bear-like right now, but it will all take shape, I promise you. I'm just going to let you catch up for a minute whilst I tell you a few more fun facts about what you've been able to enable the Liver Trust to do. So 50% of the cost of the bear goes to our work supporting people with all kinds of liver conditions, from the information on our website to our nurse-led helpline, patient and family support group, and our campaign work for early diagnosis. And I mentioned this already. Can you help raise £2,000? It's only a little bit more than what you've already done. But tell your friends, tell your family, and as I mentioned, give your bear to a partner in time for Valentine's Day. And you can still order that via the British Liver Trust website exactly the same way as you have done before. And no doubt Alicia will put the details into the comments now. But if you're watching this later on, then you've got to go out and find it yourself, because the comments obviously don't get recorded and transferred. So yes, as I mentioned before, it is being recorded and will be available to watch on demand on Facebook. So you just pop onto the events page and should be there. And there's also the British Liver Trust YouTube channel, where a link will be emailed to you after this. I think it will be tomorrow actually. And there's some information about the liver which I'm going to save, because that's going to be very interesting too. Right, so we now have a teddy bear with a head and a body. we obviously need to give him his legs, and that's the next step that we're making. Has anybody got any questions? I don't know how many people are watching. I've no idea how many people are interested in anything else about needle felting. I can talk about it until the cows come home. So just fire away a question if you want to. And in the meantime, I shall go on to the next step to make the arms and legs. Oh no, we need to attach the head to the body first. Let's do that first. That would be good, wouldn't it? So now remember that 1/4 pinch that you put to one side. You know the bit where, is that a quarter? Yes, that is a quarter of it. That bit, that first pinch that you took off, that is now crucial to attach the head to the body. And I'm going to show you how. Starting with a golden bear, or continuing with a golden bear, we're just going to tuck the head onto the body by using the felting needle, and all you've got to do is just stab either into the body or into the head so that you catch wispy end fibers from the body or the head, whatever is there. My head is quite firmly felted, whereas the body is quite loose, so I can easier get wispy fibers from the body into the head. And I'm only doing that to fasten it on so it doesn't fall off. Now you might have noticed that I have made fastened the head. If it's slightly more oblong, then fasten it on so that you fasten it on where the long side is, so that that makes it a nicer teddy bear head shape. Once you've tacked it on, so we haven't actually felted it on properly yet. It's just so that it's not falling off. And now what you're going to do is you're going to tease this bit of wool, that the pinch of wool that you put to one side out. Make a nice thin sheet. If you've got wisps, then just again do what you did earlier. So if you've got a bit off, then just lay it on top and then just integrate it that way. And all you're going to do now is you're going to put that patch of wool that you've got there, that whole sheet, you're going to pull this over your bear so that it's almost like a ghost. He's a ghost bear now. And then you're laying it flat onto your mat again, and you start felting in the ends of that wispy sheet first, so that make sure it's nice and taut. You want it to be pulling the head onto the body, even though it's only a thin layer of wool. So felt that on all over onto the body first so that it's fastened on, and then you're going to follow the line of the head so that you find that neck again, and then you're going to felt it all onto the head as well, so that the whole sheet has now connected the head with the body and made it into one shape, but you still have the features showing through. So it looks a little bit like a peg doll by the time you've done that. A little bit like a pawn in a chess set. So felt it all down onto the head as well, and you'll have yourself a little yeah, like I said, like a pawn from a chess set. Maybe not such a distinct head. The head's quite big still, but you felt that down all over. Follow that shape, stab the wool in, stab that layer down. One of the questions that often is asked, how do I get rid of those stabby marks or pock marks or needle marks? And at the moment you don't have to worry about it, but later on, I mean, you don't have to worry about it at all, to be honest. I never worried about it, but sometimes it's usually the more perfectionist crafters that bothers it. If you go down a needle size, then these little marks can be reduced, because you're working on a much finer, you're working on a smaller scale, and you can get rid of these little marks. However, sometimes I just give it a bit of a squish in my hand, and then to me that's usually good enough. If you get really interested in needle felting, then you might find that there are actually a lot more sophisticated needles. Needless to say, we sell all of these on our website, because we are actually complete needle felting geeks, and if there's anything that you need for needle felting, you'll find it with us. So just to give you the heads up that you do not need to suffer without the real and the real tools and accessories. We've got it all for you. Our wool that you're using right now, they are called batts, B-A-T-T-S. It's just the way that it's been processed into sheets of wool, and they are super good for 3D shaping. If any of you have needle felted before and you've bought a kit from, how can I say, a large craft outlet, and you've been disappointed because it's not working, you might have ended up with wool tops, and they really take a long time to felt down. Worse still, you might have felted onto polystyrene, which is like the worst that can possibly happen to real needle felters. Usually everything can be made from wool, so as I'm teaching you here now. Right, so that's now one of the shapes more complete. Now I'm going to do exactly the same with the red shape and show you again how it's done. So the two, if the head is slightly oval still, so I'm actually putting it on so that it's sitting on the longer side, tucking the fibers either from the body or from the head into the opposite shape, so that it's just, we're literally just, it's almost, I'm calling it tucking on purpose. It's a little bit like if you're trying to turn trouser legs up and you just go along with a needle just to get the shape, just get the length done. This is just so that the shape is fastened on. And then you take your pinch from the 1/4 pinch, lay this over the head. If you find that it's too big, you don't have to use all of this. This is just a guideline. You can always take some off. Lay it over it, stroke it all the way down and make it nice and taut. And then you're going to needle felt it onto the body first. Make sure it's nice and smooth so you haven't got any lumps and bumps. Felt it all the way onto the body and all the way around, making sure that it is staying nice and pulled down. If you're spilling over the edge of your shape, then just felt it down on the base as well and keep the base flat, because that's the flat bottom where the teddy bear will be sitting on. There we go. I wish I could read all the comments. I'd love to read the comments. I am also, I think this might be, you might be able to read captures, which is always a terrifying thought, not just because of my German accent, but just that will be, yes, exactly. So that at that point, if I start thinking about it, I don't want to say anything at all, so I just basically ignore it. And hopefully you can all make sense, even if you can't hear me. Right, so now I'm going up towards the head, finding that head, that neck, stabbing the needle into it. Oh, isn't it a magic craft? Come on, guys. If you've never needle felted before, you've got to love this. I've not been tired of this. And as I said, I've done it for nearly 20 years. And it's just one of those things where I just feel it's like coming home every time I pick a needle up. There are endless opportunities. It's not just 2D needle felting. You might actually find that you much prefer to do some 2D needle felting, flat needle felting. You might think of wanting to do realistic animals, or you might think of doing something completely self-design and self-thought of. Who knows what you come up with. It's always a joy to see people that we've introduced to needle felting on what journey it takes them. And sometimes, in many cases actually, don't even need to know who's made something. I can recognize it just by looking at their make, because they find their own style and their own sort of fingerprint. And the good thing about this is there is nothing really, you can't really go wrong. It doesn't matter what you in the end create, it's never really wrong. Right, here we go. that's the second bear that I'm making, has got now his head joined onto his body. He's still tall. He's definitely still a taller bear. So if I wanted to shrink him down, I would just have to work quite hard on shrinking the shape down. But I'm not going to. He can be a tall bear. We need tall bears and we need short bears. We need them all. There we go. There's the two side by side. And now I'm allowed to do the legs. But before I do that, let's have a quick check-in. This is where I'm at now. Two little cones, and they're still squishy. The head is definitely a bit firmer than the body, if I needed to make a distinction here. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm allowed to be let loose on the legs. So let's have a look. Done all of that. So split your remaining portion of main body wall into 1/3 and 2/3. So remember, we've got one big 1/3 portion left, this one here. And so this bigger portion that you've got left now, you're going to split into 1/3 and 2/3. So it's about that much, and then this would be twice as big. So 1/3, 2/3. And the larger amount, this one here, is now going to split into 4. So this is the one I'm working on right now, and this is the one that it will become. Okay, just so that you have an idea. So from the back, you can probably see more of a resemblance there, where I'm heading with this. Okay. So that's just so that you know, this is, I'll do the same with a maroon colored bear in a minute too. Right, so coming back again, so the remainder of your wool that you've got left over now, I've got 1/3 and 2/3, and it's the larger quantity that I'm going to use, and I'm going to split the larger amount into 4 equal parts. Again, it's not rocket science, so just do it as best as you can. Sometimes I split it and then I sort of feel it and then I think, oh, there's a bit more there. Yeah, that's about right. 4 equal parts. And now each part will become a leg. So I'm doing now what we've done before, rolling the shape into, rolling the wool into a shape. Again, if you've got little bits, then tuck them in. Now again, you have got a leg or a limb template here, there, and that is the shape that we're trying to get to. So we're flattening the ends, which will attach to the body. Right, so let's just have I'll get back to my page here. Follow the instructions or not, skip the page. Here we are. Right, so rolling it up, tucking the sides in. Now you have to try and make a similar size leg. I mean, that would just be nice, wouldn't it? But if you had 2 that were the same and 2 that were the same, then that's okay as well, because you can have 2 that are the same for the legs and 2 that are the same for the arms. And once you've rolled it up, you're doing exactly what you did before, but really be careful with your fingers, because the scale that you're working on is getting smaller and smaller. And I've just accidentally picked up my medium needle and I'm not ready for that yet. So I just need to change to the coarser needle, which is this one. So you're felting this shape down, but this time you do want it to stay oblong, so you're not going to try and make it round. You're working on one side to make it sort of more like a stubby end. This is where the paws are going to go. So be careful that you don't stub yourself. Everybody stubs themselves at some point. I mean, I'd much rather you did it at home today than when you're in a workshop with me, because then I've got to give you a plaster potentially. But yeah, everybody does. There's not a single needle felter on the planet that hasn't nipped themselves with a needle. So be careful with what you're doing. Definitely don't take your eyes off. So if you're watching me, don't needle felt at the same time. Do it just a little bit later. And just bear with me a second. I've just got to... Sorry. Just got to plug my cable into the computer. It happens every time. And then you're flattening the other side. instead of stabbing straight into it, you're actually stabbing it flat. So you can hear now that my needle is going all the way through the other side of the mat again, and you're just turning it over and you're just stabbing it from one side and then from the other side, because you want to get that flat piece. Can you see how it's flat? And that is the piece that will get attached like a flat arm against the body, and also for the legs. So that this is where we're going with this. So you sometimes it works better for people if they actually know what we're doing. I want to say hello to lots of makers groupies. I know there will be lots of people there who have actually been supporting the makers for years now, and whenever we do anything with charities, or if there's a new kit coming out, they are by our side. So hello to all of you who are out there who are usually our makers lot. And I have actually no idea who's there, but I'm sure there are plenty of you there. And welcome to all of those who will be hopefully loving needle felting, and it will help you in one way or another, whether it's a new craft that you've discovered, maybe it's those precious moments where you actually can just empty out your brain and don't think about anything, just keep your hands busy and don't worry about a thing. And if you're one of those, then definitely try and find us on our YouTube live streams. They are a lot of fun. You can always win yourself a voucher to spend in our shop, and we have a really lovely needle felting community. It's almost like a big family, and you're very welcome to join it. And we would absolutely love to continue working with the British Liver Trust anyway, so you can't get rid of us that quickly. Right, so I'm noticing that this leg that I'm doing is definitely a bit bigger than the arm, or I'm already calling it an arm. So I think the bigger one I'm going to turn into a leg, and I'm just hoping that I have got another big one so that I've got two of each. And then flatten the other side. And what I'm going to do is, should I do the other? No, I'm just going to stick with that color for now. So when I'm turning it literally to the other side. So I'm not just turning it a bit. I am wanting this to be flat. So I've got my second leg there now. And if you look at the template, that's what we're aiming for. That's not bad, actually. 1 and 2. Now 2 more to go, and then 2 more on the other bear. And oh, have I just taken a bit of that? Yes, I have. Right. Roll this up. And this is leg number 3 I'm doing. You become an expert in legs by leg number 3. First one is to learn it. The second one is to practice. The third one you be the master of legs. And the fourth one you can do it in your sleep. Stab into there. And whilst I'm stabbing away, I'm going to give you some facts about the liver. The liver is an important organ carrying out hundreds of essential jobs, such as processing food, producing energy quickly, combating infections, and cleaning the blood. That is actually, if you think about it, that's an awful lot of things that the liver has to do. And I can tell you that a lot of this, like for example, producing energy quickly, we all need that, and of course in times of infection, and I'm not even going to say the C word, we do need it to be efficient to help us get over illnesses as well. Many people aren't aware that there are lots of different causes of liver disease. Some types of liver conditions are genetic or autoimmune. They can't be prevented, so there's no point beating yourself up over it. If you got that, drew that card, then that's just tough luck. And it must be really hard for people to have these very disabling illnesses. So hence we're doing what we're doing to help those people. So we're there to help. And some types of liver conditions are oh no, I just said that they're genetic or autoimmune, but 9 out of 10 cases can be prevented through lifestyle. Now there is news. And I guess we can all guess what some of those lifestyles are. But you can definitely find out more about how you can keep your liver healthy, because the British Liver Trust has got lots of useful information on their website. So hop over and have a look on there. But I can give you, so you don't have to hang there in suspense, I can give you 3 simple steps for a healthy liver, and a short lifestyle screener for a snapshot of your own liver health. So I think what they have is, and I very quickly looked at it, you can sort of do an own liver assessment from your home computer. I'm going to definitely do that later. And a member of the British Liver Trust team will share the link to this information in the comments, and also share via email in the coming weeks. So hopefully somebody will now share this as I'm saying this live on the 3rd of February on Facebook. Somebody will share this now from the British Liver Trust onto the group, onto the event here, and into the chat. So that you can find the link of where you can do this liver test. And it's all about prevention. It's always better to prevent these things from happening. Right, 4 legs of sorts. I've definitely got quite a chubby one there, probably 2 chubby ones. So I'm going to use these for legs, and then I'm going to use these 2 for arms. But before we attach them, I'm going to show you how to make the legs all over again, because now I'm going to work on the maroon colored bear. And this is where we're heading with this one. Right, let's remind ourselves. We have got 1/3 of the original batch still left. I'm going to split now. I've got to read this up again myself. I've completely forgotten. I'm now going to split the remaining portion of wool into 1/3 and 2/3. So this is 1/3 and then 2/3. This is going to be for my legs. This is what I'm going to put away. Now I'm going to split this into 4 equal portions, 1 for each leg. There. That's it. And now I'm going to roll these into little sausages and felt them down into a leg shape. And it does say somewhere there, oh mind you have got the template. I wondered if there was oh yes, it actually says it's about 5 centimeters long and 2 centimeters wide. So just rolling this up now, felting it down. The tighter you roll it, the less you've got to stab it, but then you might end up with a really skinny long leg. So I'm sure you will work it out. And then again, there's nothing wrong with a teddy bear having skinny long legs. So not not the end of the world. We all have them, skinny and long legs. Well, some of us are lucky enough to have skinny long legs. And so teddy bears are allowed to have them too. It would be really nice to actually hear some stories of anybody who could tell us why you're making the teddy bear, who you're making it for, how has it helped you, maybe even raising awareness about the British Liver Trust. We'd love to hear the stories. Remember, you can hashtag Love Your Liver, and you can also, if you want to tag the makers, if you tag the makers on Facebook, then it's at themakers.co.uk. That's our Facebook handle. If you are doing this on Instagram, then it's at the makers with 2 S's. Don't forget to put the 2 S's on there. And we are quite good at sharing stories on Instagram, but we also would love to see anything that you have made with this kit on our Facebook group, Everyone a Maker, which you are very welcome to join. I think we just asked 3 questions because it is a place where only makers stuff gets shared. So we want to make sure that you are aware of that. But we'd love to see what you've done. And of course, please do share it in the event, on the event here on the Trail of Commons. But if you're doing this anytime after the event, you can still share it in the event afterwards. But if you're doing this from a YouTube link that's been sent to you, you might not even go onto Facebook, then I'm sure that you could email it, a photo, to the British Liver Trust as well. We just want to see what you've done. We want to see your bears. That's the most exciting part for me, is always seeing the finished samples or the finished projects. Not that that is the most important thing, because actually with needle felting, a lot is really lovely to do, just the process of it. A friend of ours, a maker's friend, she has just made, she bought, I think, one of each color of the teddy bears, loved it so much that she's actually made a whole rainbow of teddy bears, and she's going to sell them off in aid of the British Liver Trust, so raising even more money. So they can be a little bit addictive, I guess, and certainly if you've only got one, you do need to have a friend for your bear. So go and get yourself another kit and help us get this number up to £2,000 or more. We wouldn't mind. We don't mind if it's a bit more. Yeah, you have got a few weeks time, especially leading up to I nearly said Christmas then. Oh dear. Leading up to Valentine's Day. What a lovely gift. Either the actual kit as a gift, or the bear itself if you want to make one. With me, it's always, I've got 4 children, and if I was to make a bear for one of my children, I can guarantee you I would have to have made a bear for all of them. Not anymore. I don't think my 20-year-old son would particularly be fussed to receive a bear from me now. But when they were little, it was never just like, oh, I only make something for one. It was always, oh, I've got to make something for 4 of you now. So so if you have got a large family, or if you're making something for one, don't be stingy. Make it for everybody. It's all for a good cause. And in every kit, you get your tools. The tools you can reuse. That's not like suddenly they're useless. You can use them for other projects. So if you want to continue on the needle felting journey, you don't need to always buy new needles. You've got your little felting mat. You can see I'm using exactly what you've got in your kit. It's perfectly good to get started with needle felting. Or if you're already a needle felter, just put it in your stash. These little felting mats, they're great to take away if you're traveling. Just put it all in a pot with a lid, take it with you, get it out. I have needle felted in the most bizarre places on the planet. I've needle felted beside a swimming pool. In one summer, my children did sit a long, long way away from me, didn't want to be seen with me. I sat by the bedside when my mum was dying. Incidentally, she did have liver cancer, and I was sitting. It was a secondary cancer, I will say, and I was sitting there needle felting, and it was very, very comforting for all of us. So there are many places you can take it. Definitely, you can take it to most places. I've been told don't take it to prison. So if you're planning to go to prison, don't do that. They won't allow you the needles. But if you want to take it on an aeroplane, apparently you just check with your airline, and they might let you take it. So right, I have got 4 arms and legs for my maroon bear, and I've got 4 arms and legs for my golden bear now. Now they need to be attached. We're getting there. How's everybody doing? Are you keeping up? I'm making 2. Are you keeping up with one? Hopefully you are. It's very exciting. All I do is I'm sitting here, I'm smiling away at myself, because I'm imagining all these bears that are being born. It's such a nice thought, and so I can't wait to see the photos. So please do share them with us, and we really are not judging. You've made a bear, that's all that matters. And needle felting is one of those crafts where you learn to needle felt, and you can needle felt, but you build your confidence by doing more and more and more. Right, let's attach these arms and legs onto our bears. So let's go back to the maroon colored bear. There we go. And I set the 2 bigger ones there. So this is basically what's going to happen. Those are the sets, and this is the bear when he's finished. That's what I'm aiming for. So now I'm going to these flatter parts of the arm. What I want to do is I want the arms to show stick out forwards. So I don't want them on the side. I want them to look forward, because we're going to decorate these little pads here at the front, at the very end. So I'm going to stab now that flattened part of the arm into the bear and fasten it on. What you might find is that the bear at the top will become a little bit slimmer, and that's fine. I didn't actually mention that at the beginning, that he can be already a bit of a pear shape. So you can certainly adjust this now. It's one of the things I love about needle felting. You can there's lots of things that you can do all the time. What you might find is when you attach something, you will want to work on the bear in other areas as well. So I'm attaching the arm, stuffing him into the sides. So one of my arms is slightly longer than the other, which means I've got to just stab it in a bit more to make it shorter, unless you like a bear with one long arm and one short arm. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. And this is so don't ever think that if you've stopped working on a body now, you're not going to come back to that. You can continuously come back to an area that you've already worked on. And then we want the legs to be similarly, we want them to stick out on the side, so they're also getting attached to the side of the bear's lower body. So again, just stab them in. That will fasten the legs on, and makes sure that that's all done. And again, I'm stabbing around the sides as well. So now the legs sticking out at the front, and then you're going to do that on the other side as well. So it does need a little bit sort of concentrated stabs to get them in. The shape of my bear is actually quite nice. He's got sort of a slightly pointy out bottom there now. And I'm not so worried about the bits that it looks like it's just been fastened on, because I've got a little bit of wool left where I can later cover up any joins. So that's all fine, but I don't want to do it just yet because I've got to make the ears. And I'm actually going to emphasize that little bottom a little bit by not stabbing into it, but I'm stabbing into the rest of the bear. So you can sculpt your bear a little bit as you are doing it. So you can have the bottom sticking out ever so slightly, and you can do the same with the tummy by actually, later on you can add a bit more wool if you've got any left over, but you can also just felt down the chest a bit more, and that sort of makes the tummy stay a bit bigger there. Right, so to me he looks like a jelly baby now, almost. So you've got a jelly baby bear there, and now I'm going to do this with the red one. So again, I've got to decide, this is the bear we're doing, got to decide what's the arms and the legs. This feels a little bit more similar. So I think that's what I'm doing, arms and legs that way. Okay, so put him on there. One arm. By this time you will have decided what is the front and the back of the bear. I haven't actually looked very closely. I've literally just put it down, but you probably make a more conscious decision about that. And then I'm going to do legs next, as he's lying on that side. Felt that on. Love it when these things come together. Needle felting doesn't always look right from the beginning. Many people will tell you that, who are seasoned needle felters, that things go through quite weird transformations, and that's absolutely fine. The main thing is not to feel disheartened by that, and just look at the instructions, because it looks exactly like that on the instructions, so you haven't done anything wrong. It's just that's just the transformation that needle felted items often have to go through. Right, 2 arms attached. I'm going to give my bear a little stab here on the upper body to shrink that down, which you can do too. This is the big bear. Remember, he's got quite a tall body, so there is actually quite a lot of air still in the wool that can be needle felted out. And if you stub these bears down really solidly, they obviously become smaller. So don't think that oh, my bear is small because you've done something wrong. You haven't. You've just felted him down a bit firmer. And then I've got one more leg on the side here. Touch that. And now he's got arms and legs. He's got a head. He's missing ears, and he's missing a snout and eyes. And then we've got a teddy bear. So I've got another jelly baby first. Get that neck a bit more felted down. You can probably sort of gauge where you need to stop to even out the shape a bit. Just look at him, and if you think, oh, that needs to be a bit flatter, then felt it down. If you want the tummy to be rounder, then don't felt into the tummy, felt into the area above it, and that will bring the tummy out because you're making the chest smaller. So it's whilst you're not adding wool, you're actually making the area around it so that the rest gets sort of supports that shaping that you want to achieve. The same on the back. I'm actually stabbing him. Oh, that sounds terrible. Stabbing him in the back to make his bottom look bigger. And that doesn't stop me later on from adding a bit more wool to build up the bulk. But for now, I want to see where I go with the ears. And that arm is a bit floppy, so that needs to be felted on a bit more. Don't be faint-hearted about stabbing. Just don't stab yourself. That's the only time where stabbing hard is not the greatest idea. Right, so got the teddy bear, got my jelly baby in red here as well. And the next thing I'm going to do is, from the last main wool, go back to the golden bear. From the last main body wool, split off 2 equal small pinches. So they have to be quite small because they're going to be for ears. They're probably the smallest pinch so far that you've split off there. And all you're doing now is, so have equal parts. You're going to felt this flat on the mat into an ear shape. And what you're doing is initially you're just felting it in a circle and then tuck the outside whispers in, but not on all sides. You're going to keep one part unfelted. So you will see this better in against this mat with the red wool. These wispy ends that you haven't folded in and felted down are really handy to hold onto so you don't stab yourself. Turn it over and stab it from both sides. It's important that you tease it off the mat as often as you can because it will fasten itself to it. So take it off. And then you've got one ear there, and now you're making the second in exactly the same way. So I stab a circle on there, tuck fibers inward, stab it all around, leave one end unfelted, tease it off, and then stab it on one side again, neaten it up a bit, turn it around, do the other side. This is the sort of work that you could spend a little bit longer on if you wanted to, using your finer needle, so the medium needle, and just make sure that it's really like a neat piece of ear. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to spend all evening just making ears. So I've got 2 ears there, and now I'm going to attach them to the bear. So these wispy ends that you haven't felted, you're going to tease them open. So you've got, they sort of almost become flat. So I've got my ear is here at the bottom, and then these fibers are teased open. And these will fit onto the side of the head of the bear. So when I say the side of the head, I mean the side and the top. Okay, I will make this all in red in a minute, obviously. Let me do the red ears before I fasten the second ear on. So let me just get that ear on. That's one ear on the bear. Sorry, Sorry, bear, I've got to make red ears first. So let's do them in red. So I've got my red wool, 2 pinches. It's just unfortunate that the felting mat is very much the color of the wool. Right. So here we go. Bit of wool. Lay it out on your felting mat. Stab it in the center so that it starts concentrating the fibers in the middle, and then fold the wispy ends in, but leave one end unfelted. So this bit here that I'm teasing off now, I haven't folded the fibers in. I'm keeping them unfolded. And this is also the bit that I'm holding on to whilst I'm stabbing my ear and whilst I'm trying to, there. Hope that you can see that better now. And then turn that over and just give it a few stabs from both sides a couple of times, and then you've made a nice shape of ear. Now the ears will all be different sizes, I can guarantee you that. We do give you sort of an idea of what the size of the ear should be, but I actually really like the bears with larger or smaller ears as well. So design your own bear. So you've now got an ear that has got wispy ends here and a shape here at the top. And then you're going to do the same thing again. Now, the reason why I'm going to the edges of this felting mat is because I've really hammered it here in the middle, and it's becoming quite flat there. So I could just tease it apart and give it a bit of a squeeze, maybe use the other side, and then I can go in the middle again before it goes flat. So I'm making a circular shape in the middle of that. Then I fold the sides in, felt them down in that circular shape, lift it off regularly, turn it round, felt it on the other side, but not these wispy ends that I'm holding on to at the moment. And they are really useful to hold on to, but they're also going to be the ones that are getting fastened onto the bear. So here we go. And then turn round to the other side. And now I've got 2 ears. Okay, there. So now I'm going to open up these wispy fibers. You could probably see it best if I put the red ears onto the golden bear, and vice versa. You put these fibers against the head. So all you're going to do at the moment is fasten these fibers in to fasten the ear on. That doesn't shape the ear at the moment, because you do want to shape the ear. So just get the fibers fastened down first so that you don't have to be anywhere near the ear when you're felting it on. Now, if you imagine there where the ear hole is, you can give it more concentrated stabs, because that makes the ear slightly more shaped, but you can also bend it in on the side, so you can hold your fingers that way if you dare, or just do one side at a time, and stab the ear so that it's slightly more curved, like a shell, and that makes it a nicer ear shape. And then you're going to attach the other ear in exactly the same way. Open up the fibers, lay them onto the side of the head. The challenge is to make sure the ears are on the same level. Felt these wispy ends down first into the head. They can sort of be nicely spread out, and then you don't have a join. It just melts into the rest of the bear. And then, as before, pinch the ear a little bit if you can. Felt into the middle, felt all around, and it gives the ear a slight shell shape, more like a curved forward shape. And then felt it down a little bit more. Now, whilst I've fastened the ear on, you can tell I'm actually now also working on the shaping of the head. Because as soon as you work on one part, you will want to work on another part again. So I'm making that part between the ears a little bit flatter, and the ears are attached now there. So I'm going to attach the second ear on my golden bear, opening up these fibers, and then putting them onto the side, and felting these down as well. And once the ear is on, then I can work on the shaping, which I haven't done on the other one yet. So hold the ear slightly curved forward, work into the center where you imagine the ear hole to be, and that will give the ear that shape. Do it on the other side as well. I haven't done that yet. Just be really careful with your fingers. So it does definitely provide a greater risk of stabbing yourself. And then just assess the ears, and if you're happy with them. If you're not happy with them, to be honest, you could just pull them off and start over again. Again, with needle felting, there's lots of things that you can adjust, but you can also still shape the ears whilst they're on. So sometimes it's the head that needs to be shaped and not the ears. And there you go. So now I have got a teddy bear with arms, legs and ears, but we do need a snout, and we want to give him eyes, and then we're nearly there. Right, so to make the snout on either of those, you're now going to use the contrasting color that you've got in your kit. So for the golden bear, you're going to use the maroon color, and you just take a small pinch of your contrasting wool, and then you're going to roll this into a small oblong shape. It's not actually that different to a leg, but it's a little bit smaller. So you're rolling this up into a little sausage shape. And if you want your bear to have a big snout, then obviously you make that bigger. And if you want it a small snout, then you make it smaller. And you felt this into a sausage shape. You can use your medium needle. Let's try that, because it's quite a small shape. Yeah, that actually works quite nicely. Use your medium needle for the maroon colored snout on the golden bear. And you're aiming for about 2 by 1.5 centimeters. And then all you're going to do is, once you've got your little shape, like a little bean, you sit it onto the face of your teddy bear, hold it onto there with your finger, and you remember how you fastened on the head to the body. You're just catching the fibers around the edge and stab them into your shape. And that is, even though that will attach it now, actually I'm going to use my coarse needle for that. It is attaching it, but at the same time it's also not flattening it. So we won't be attaching it any other way like we did with the head, but we actually, we will avoid the snout getting flattened, because we do want it to be protruding. So stabbing it all around the edges, stabbing into the red wool and stabbing the red wool into the golden colored wool stops it from getting flattened. So rather than going straight into the top, I'm not doing that. I'm actually going around the edge so that I've got a nice pointy snout here. And now you can use a little bit of black, and again that won't be so easily visible on this color. So I'm going to show you that on the maroon bear in a minute. But maybe I should do the snout on the maroon bear. Let's do the snout on the maroon bear. So for him, you're going to use the you've got a lot of this blue in there, because that's also for the heart. Take a pinch of that blue wool. Roll it into a bean shape. Use your medium felting needle and felt it down. All around, give it a few stabs, firm it up a bit. Doesn't have to be a mega solid shape, just needs to be nice and neat. And then fasten that on to the bear. Again, by tucking it around the edges. As you did before. And once you've done that, you can make that a lot smaller. Like on this bear, I've made it quite tiny. But if you wanted to have a big snout, then you can do that too. So I'm working on a bigger face here, on a bigger snout. If it's so big that you find it's too big, then you can actually shrink the shape by just stabbing straight into it. Even though you don't want to flatten it, you can actually reduce the size by stabbing all around. Once it's attached, you can make it smaller, and I'm using my medium needle for that. But working on a larger scale is probably quite good at the moment for you to see, but you don't have to make it quite so big. And then all you need to do is take a wisp of the black that you've got in there, and you're now shaping a little nose so that it's a triangular shape, but you do this whilst you're putting the wool on there. So you want it to be flat at the top, so just felt a flat straight line at the top into the black wool, and then make a little triangular shape. And you can do this as you did with the ears by just tucking the fibers in as you're felting. So you don't even need to pre-shape it very much. Allow the needle to pull the fibers in, and when you get to a point where you've got lots of wispy fibers here and they sort of, it's hard to catch every single one, twizzle your needle around these fibers and just catch them that way, like spaghetti on a fork. Tuck them in, keep repeating that, because that way you can make quite a neat outline. And then felt that down. If that nose isn't triangular, it's not the end of the world. Just get it felted down, and then you can, with your you can give it a little indentation just with a needle, or you could even give it a black little line for a mouth. If you just use your felting needle, you can make a little extra part here underneath the nose, just by stabbing it to give it a smiley face. Or you could also, as I've done here, make a little ridge from the nose down to the mouth and make the mouth quite separate. And so he's got his nose now. I'm going to put the nose onto the maroon colored snout as well. Just stab the black in. It's harder to see. I mean, it's even hard for me to see the black onto the maroon. So getting there. And then the last thing I will show you is I will show you how to attach the eyes. We're not going to make the heart together. We have actually got a live stream on our YouTube channel of how to make the heart, because I think it's getting too late or it's taking too long. So feel free to look up how to do the heart. It is also on the instructions, but if you learn better by watching somebody do it, then find in our playlist, the makers on the YouTube channel, find our heart tutorial and just follow that. It's a slightly larger heart, but you can just scale it down. Now, the only thing that I will show you now is how to attach the eyes, and I will show you on one set of paws how you can make tiny little marks. You can add a little bit of different color wool into the ears if you want to, so you could make put a little bit of black in there or a little bit of blue, as I've done here. It's just final details. To do the eyes, what you will be doing at home is you are going to put a little bit of black down for the eye. I'm not going to do this only because you won't be able to see how I poke the eyes in. So imagine there was black, but there isn't. You use your felting needle and you're actually making a hole for where the eye is going to go. Once you've got your needle in as far as that, just give it a bit of a jiggle like this. And you can see I've made quite a big hole there with my needle. I've kind of used my needle as an awl. Have the eyes at the ready, and then going to put that pin into the hole that you've made like that, okay? And then you're going to repeat that on the other side. I'm going to use my coarse needle for that. It's a nice thick needle. Watch where the needle is coming out, so don't have your hand there. Jiggle it only once the needle is fully inserted, and then put the eye in there. There. So now you've got two eyes, and this is the nice part of the teddy bear because it kind of comes to life. And instead of taking the eyes out again, you're actually going to use your glue, Ideally you've got a pointy nozzle on your glue, and just put a dab of glue behind the eye, push the eye back in, and that is all you need to do, is to fasten the eye in. So the glue, even if it spills out a little bit, use clear drying glue, and then you don't have a problem at all. And because I haven't put the black behind it, with the black behind it, it makes the eye look a little bit bigger. But to be honest, I can still add the black behind it once the glue is dry, which I will show you in a minute. With the maroon colored bear, I can actually show you how to put the wool behind it, because you can see it better against that blue. So all you're doing is you're adding a little wisp of blue into the area where the eye is going, like that. That's quite a big surround. So add a little patch there. And it's a really nice way to demonstrate how the needle pulls the fibers in and tucks them away. And do it on the other side. Like that. And then all you need to do is do the same what I just did with the golden bear. Take your felting needle, make a hole, get the eyes. Where are my other eyes? There. Insert the eyes like that. Repeat it on the other side. Like that. And then glue them in. Oh, that was a bit much there. And then you've basically got your eyes secure. You can still adjust the, would look really nice to have one big patch and one small patch as well. So just make sure that the eyes can dry. And then what you can do is you can add a tiny bit of blue color in there. You can also, for finishing touches, you can use some of your red wool and secure these joins a bit more by just felting the wool softly over the areas where the arms are attached, and felt it down. If you want to build up a little bit of bulk, so say you want to build up a bigger tummy or bigger bottom, or if it needs a little bit of bulk building up, then you can use this wool and just build up a almost like a bit of a bumper there, where you build up like a cushion, bit of a cushion, and then lay that onto the area where you want the bear to have a bulkier part, and felt it down around the edges first, and then felt it so that it you can shape it. You might have to repeat that, but eventually it will add bulk to your bear, and that's just finishing touches if you want to perfect your little bear, or you want to work a little bit more on him. He's got a very fluffy bum now, and once it's fastened on, then you can step into the middle to sculpt it a little bit more to your liking. So that's just a few tips here right at the very end. The bears don't have little tails, so you could give them a little tail if you wanted to. I haven't done that. And then the little pads, I'm not going to do 8 legs now, because that will take forever. So I'm just going to show you on the maroon colored bear, because I think that's probably the best contrasting way to do it. You just take one wisp of wool, definitely use your medium needle for that, felt it onto the paw, so you've got one big pad right at the bottom, and then you're going to use 3 tiny wisps. So this is sort of quite detailed work now. Tiny wisps, roll them into a little bowl shape, and you're making 3 tiny little pads here at the top. So make sure you don't stab yourself. Use your medium needle 100%, and then work your way around the top of the paw. And then you've got to do this on four legs. If you do one, you've got to do the others, of course. So that you can see, I like this kind of work because it really demonstrates beautifully what the needle actually does. Tucks the fibers in, shrinks it down, makes it smaller, and firms it up at the same time. And this can potentially be quite fiddly, so you don't have to do this if you don't want to. But it also looks really cute, so do it if you can. And then all you need to do is needle felt your bear hard. You have done so much shaping now. I'm not even going to show you how to do that now, because you know exactly how to do that. And I think I've got a bit of a bear parade here, but they're all they're all ready now to have a bear party. And I hope that you have been able to craft along. If not, I've tried to take it as slow as possible without people running away, because it was getting too boring. So do make sure that you can watch this again if you need to. Get in touch with us if we can help you in any way or form. And he's definitely the biggest bear I've made. So he's got actually that golden bear is quite a big size as well. Wear your ribbon to show that you support the British Liver Trust, and definitely, if you have any doubts, go and get your second bear to make the other one a friend. And all I can say is thank you so much for supporting such a good cause, and I hope that we can do this again in the future. But in the meantime, you've still got plenty of opportunities to get another bear kit and stab away and make another bear. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you again, and it would be lovely to see you around some other time. I say bye bye now.